Let's go now to fact or fiction on the Senate payroll tax cut extension and the Republican candidates who just had their final debate before the Iowa caucuses Thursday night. So that means it is time for today's edition of Fact or Fiction. And joining me from Washington is David Hawkings, editor of the CQ Roll Call Daily Briefing. David, good morning.
Hi again, Alex.
We're going to get right to our first fact or fiction question about the debate. Fact or fiction, Rick Perry was correct when he said that Ronald Reagan did not create the 11th commandment, thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican.
That is technically correct. Most people attribute that line to Ronald Reagan, but in fact he got it from the chairman of the California Republican Party back in the mid-1960s, back when Ronald Reagan was the governor. A guy named Gaylord Parkinson actually coined the phrase, but everybody sees it in Reagan's mouth now.
Okay. Next fact or fiction. In Thursday's debate, Michelle Bachmann noted the IAEA report, quote, saying literally Iran is within just months of being able to obtain that weapon, and Ron Paul argued the report actually had no evidence of that. So, fact or fiction, Ron Paul and Michelle Bachmann, were they both right in their comments about Iran's nuclear weapons program to any degree?
Neither of them was correct. They were essentially, one was on one side of what the IAEA said, and one was on the other side. What that agency said, they just put out a big report that said there's credible evidence that Iran has been taking steps toward developing a nuclear device, but it's nowhere near months away from being ready. So Ron Paul was underplaying what was said, and Michelle Bachmann was overplaying what was said.
Okay, here we go with another fact or fiction, David. According to Newt Gingrich in the GOP debate, he was responsible for 4 balanced budgets.
Technically, that's a fiction, because while the budget was balanced for 4 years under a deal that Speaker Gingrich in 1997 cut with President Bill Clinton, he was gone by the time the last 2 budgets were balanced. In other words, he was the Speaker in 97 and 98 when the budget was balanced, then he left, and the plan that he and Bill Clinton worked on kept the budget balanced until September 11th, after which the budget situation changed dramatically.
Okay, let's go now to the budget bill. A key part of the deal in Congress, in the bill there, is forcing President Obama to decide on this pipeline from Canada. Is that fact or fiction? Because the State Department opposed this $7 billion pipeline project largely because of environmental concerns.
That is fact. That was their concern. The State Department gets involved because this pipeline would start in Canada and would go all the way to the Gulf of Mexico and cross right across the sandhills of Nebraska, which are a pretty environmentally fragile place. And the concern is that if any oil were to leak out of this pipeline, it would really mess up one of the more fragile parts of our country.
Also, there were a number of issues involved in this budget battle. So fact or fiction, what we've heard, the House this week voted to defund Planned Parenthood?
That is fiction. That was actually a goal of the Republicans in the House, and they pushed relatively hard for that during the year. But as part of a blizzard of horse trading that went into this bill that the Senate has just cleared and sent to the President, that language was dropped. So Planned Parenthood will continue to get its money for another year. And we will continue to see you, perhaps even next weekend. David Hawkings, many thanks, but certainly in 2012. Thank you.